Let me walk you down a possible interpretation of history, and you give me your thoughts on this, step by step.
Oh, sure.
80s, 90s, Donald Trump is unquestionably the king of New York City.
For sure. Lifestyle's rich and famous, too, isn't he?
Absolutely.
All over.
Very well connected, knows this person, that socialite, this big city person. Any development that's going down in New York City, he knows. The city officials, everybody. There's nothing happening.
Seems like he's plugged in everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing happening in that city without him knowing about it. So along comes JFK Jr. He's going to run for the Senate seat in New York, and everybody loves him. The next JFK has come. He's finally got his face out of that magazine, and he's going to assume his destiny, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Unfortunately, poor JFK Jr. has a bad plane accident, conveniently goes down in flames, enter an open Senate seat with no real competition anymore because nobody was going to try to go after that and beat JFK because they knew it was a loss.
Right.
So now there's no competition and an empty seat. In strolls Hillary, becomes senator of New York State, and that's her first stepping stone towards wanting to be president. Now, you're well connected into New York. You just watched that happen in your own state, your own city, and what's going on. All right. Not cool, but that's the stakes and the levels we're playing at biggest real estate developer in New York City. A couple more years go by. Maybe this was before, maybe it was after. Can't remember whether it was JFK's plane crash was before or after 9/11, but same token, 9/11 happens. Where does 9/11 happen? New York City, right in freaking Trump's backyard. You know he knew a lot of people that were in those towers that went down. He knew a lot of the fire department people. All of these are people, and if he didn't, he had a lot of people that worked for him that were closely related and directly connected to a lot of people that lost their lives or loved ones in that. Including in those was one of his close friends and business associates. I don't remember if they used to be an attorney or something, but they were working in the towers when it went down. They were lost. This person's wife, also a good friend of Donald Trump's, she leads the lawsuit, the class action lawsuit for the victims and families of all of this against the 9/11 Commission and all of that type of stuff for the lawsuits. She mysteriously dies in some sort of one-person car accident, whatever type of situation, and she's gone now. Now, if you know all of the inside things that are going on between everything, you know your friends are being bumped off or potentially being bumped off here, and you're aware of all of these things that are happening and circling and going on throughout your city. Look at his past tweets the last 5 years. He's been calling out some of the different politicians that are dropping like flies now. He was laying these breadcrumbs out long ago. So along comes this theory that every action has a reaction, okay? Mm-hmm. When JFK was assassinated in 1962 or whatever it was back then, you had what is pretty much today understood to be more than suspicion, inner parts of the CIA and the government all working together in this execution of a sitting president. You had basically the deep state arriving and pulling its coup, and it's pretty much been in power ever since.
Okay, yeah.
But just like way back when that deep state went in and started infiltrating everything and rising through the ranks to get that much power and accumulation, the reaction to them fully rising to the forefront of their power was pushing back the white hats into the shadows, where within the government, the people that actually were there for the right reasons, the right cause, to fight the good, and to protect their country and do all this nationalism, rah stuff while you get into those high levels and ranks. And they had to start finding mutually assured people in all of this. A lot of this is along the lines of the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type thing, where you all have Hydra that's basically infiltrated everything, and then the other good soldiers have to find each other and connect to re-infiltrate.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Yeah, so that's basically what's gone down there. And over these decades, you've had a loyal group of people that have wanted to to defend the honor of JFK Jr., and all of this. And his slogan, "Where we go one, we go all," has come about and rose within the dark corners of the web. And this is where the Q phenomenon has arose from. Because this person's dropping, quote unquote, supposed behind the scenes intelligence of this war against the cabal that's supposedly taking place. Whether or not you believe that, it's one of those things you got to take in a lot of information and stumble down a lot of rabbit holes and start wondering what makes the most sense to you. Where do you think the conclusion is? I'm not on any politician's wagon or train or side. I just want the clouds to part and the clear skies to come back one day. And it's been dark clouds over this country since the 60s.
Oh, forever.
So there's a lot of hope being spilled all over this. But with that, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that's getting stronger and stronger by the day that not only is in the resignations that have been predicted, the false flags that have been predicted, the actions by the president that have been predicted as recently as 2 days ago, where they had said, this is where things start to spill into the public spectrum. This is where the pain starts to come, is one of the quotes, "Watch the pen." And the hint of that was watch the pen that the president uses to make executive orders. The very next day, Trump comes out and tweets that if he needs to use executive orders, he's going to demand the investigation into the spying of his campaign and all of this.
Sure.
So you've got these breadcrumbs that is a whole lot more circumstantial evidence than some tinfoil hat guys just talking about some stuff on 4chan.